Today we'll be talking about MAO, motivation, ability, and opportunity. Meet Jane. Like you, she's a college student. And this guy is Jonas. He's Jane's classmate. Just like you, they are both marketing students in the business school. After leaving their marketing class that has just covered the chapter on MAO, motivation, ability, and opportunity, Jane and Jonas become worried about the chapter concept for the upcoming exam. The two begin to discuss their plan of attack on how to ace the exam. Jane gets a brilliant idea. She thinks about getting a tutor to help her work through the MAO chapter and recommends that Jonas does the same. Despite Jane's input, Jonas isn't as concerned about the test and banks on the exam being easy. Jane's the definition of a model student. She studies really hard, puts in a lot of effort, and loves to keep her GPA as high as it could possibly be. This, of course, includes her grade on this upcoming marketing test, so she definitely finds it very important. Jane has much more felt involvement about her grades, which means that she intrinsically tries harder in school because it makes her feel better. Because of this high felt involvement, Jane has a higher motivation in order to find the tutor that is perfect for her. So Jane gets started right away. Jonas, a student who would rather be at the bar than studying, only considers getting a tutor after Jane decides to do so. With a lower involvement and low MAO in his decision-making process, Jonas stumbles upon an advertisement for Chegg while in the business school. This isn't the first time Jonas has heard of the study platform, as his friends and classmates have talked about it using positive word of mouth. From their positive thoughts and experiences of the program, Jonas decides to go towards this alternative form of tutoring. It also helped that the advertisement provided a coupon code, so Jonas felt like he would be saving both time and money. Jane and Jonas are back in class discussing the upcoming test. Jane is super excited about her new tutor Sarah, and she just had to tell Jonas all about her and how she found the perfect tutor. Jane is highly motivated to learn about MAO, so she used word of mouth and online reviews to make sure that Sarah was the right fit for her. Jane then asks Jonas how his tutor is. He responds saying that he is using Chegg as his tutor. Jane is shocked by Jonas's low motivation to learn the material. She asks Jonas if he's worried Chegg won't be good because it is not as reliable as a tutor, but Jonas says he isn't too worried about it because all his good friends use it and they get good grades. Plus, the day has finally come where Jane meets her tutor Sarah in the library to go over the material. Sarah first goes over the main point of the chapter, MAO, which stands for motivation, ability, and opportunity. Motivation is the process that leads us to behave the way we do. Ability is the extent to which a consumer has the necessary resources to make the outcome possible, and the final term is opportunity, which is a lack of impediments on a consumer's ability to act. Sarah then goes on to explain how MAO differs in purchasing decisions. Low MAO purchasing decisions relate to purchases that are made by consumers who are not as motivated to find or search for the best possible option. These people usually rely on shortcuts like the availability heuristic. Sarah asks Jane if she can think of an example, and Jane recalls how Jonas decided to use Chegg. Since Jonas had heard positive things about Chegg and then saw an advertisement, he therefore used the availability heuristic as a shortcut to find a source of tutoring because of what he knew from his friends. After discussing Jane's example of Jonas's use of an availability heuristic, Sarah believes it is a perfect example of a low MAO purchasing decision. Sarah asks Jane to explain a little bit more on the scenario. After understanding that Jonas received a coupon to save money on his new Chegg subscription, Sarah explains how the use of coupons and discounts is how companies shape an individual in order to create a habit of buying their product. In Jonas's case, the discount shaped him to purchase monthly subscriptions to the program. Sarah also emphasizes to Jane that Jonas may be undergoing some amount of base rate neglect because he ignores the fact that Chegg is not as helpful as a tutor based on his friend's recommendation. Jane suddenly begins to understand how her choice to get a tutor is different from Jonas's low MAO purchasing decision of getting Chegg. The two students, Jane and Jonas, once again meet up in the review session in class. After the review session concludes, Jane is curious to see how Jonas is dealing with studying the material. Jonas states that he isn't very happy with Chegg because it provides the answers to some problems but not the solutions. He struggled through the review session because he has spent so much time looking for solutions rather than reading examples. Jane, on the other hand, is very satisfied with her decision to get a tutor. Jane loves Sarah and is ecstatic that she is starting to have a stronger grasp on the topic of MAO before the upcoming exam. Jane again meets with Sarah to cover the next major topic in the chapter on MAO. Sarah begins to explain the topic of high MAO decisions. Sarah explains that the high MAO purchase decisions are ones that have high levels of potential social or economic consequences. She says, imagine buying a car. You wouldn't just buy the first car you see, would you? You would most likely take the time to research which car would be the most cost-effective, gas-efficient, and stylish for your liking. Then, you would make your decision based upon that research. Sarah then went on to describe how these decisions are mostly for expensive, long-term purchases. Jane wonders what high MAO decisions she has made recently, and Sarah tells her that the process of finding a tutor is an example of high MAO decision-making. After checking multiple websites, reading reviews, and looking at tutor specialties, Jane was able to narrow her options down to a few candidates. Once she got this far, she explained to Sarah that she picked a tutor that was rated about 4 stars and had a specialty in tutoring consumer behavior. Sarah was happy because Jane unknowingly made her decision a non-compensatory decision. Sarah goes on to explain that a non-compensatory decision model helps you decide on a purchase based upon setting cutoff levels. In Jane's case, she set the cutoff as nothing less than a 4-star rating and that the tutor had to specialize in consumer behavior. Sarah then dives into the strategies that marketers use to market towards both low MAO and high MAO oriented consumers. To explain to Jane, Sarah shows her the tactics that she uses to attract high MAO oriented consumers such as yourself. Sarah's bio on the tutoring website states, "Get better grades guaranteed." This appeals to those who make high MAO purchases because it is incorporated in their information search. This tactic is employed to satisfy the student's need to succeed. Sarah then explains how marketers tend to market to those who make low MAO purchases. She uses the example of Jonas receiving a coupon and states that those who are less motivated in their purchases tend to focus on the cheaper option. Therefore, Jonas was pulled in by lower prices, influencing his purchasing decision. Jonas is focused more on saving money rather than taking the time to search for a better alternative. After the lesson, Sarah wants Jane to recall what she has learned so she can process the information better. High MAO purchases consist of longer searches, in-depth evaluation of alternatives, and greater emphasis on post-decision outcomes. Low MAO purchases consist of the opposite: shorter search, less emphasis on alternative evaluation, and less worry about post-purchase behavior. Jane recognizes that she is using high MAO decision-making to find a tutor, while Jonas is using low MAO decision-making and using Chegg. Jane continues to explain how marketers often use the MAO concepts to market towards high and low motivated consumers. Choice tactics such as price and the availability heuristic attract low MAO-oriented consumers, and high MAO-oriented consumers put more emphasis on the information search and evaluation of alternatives. Sarah is impressed by Jane's dedication to learn the material and believes that she is ready to take the test. Finally, early morning in the business school. Jane and Jonas both walk into class to take their test. The teacher waits until everyone is seated before passing it out. It looks like Jonas isn't too happy with the material on the test. He looks through the first page, then flips through the second, and then flips through the last. He definitely looks puzzled. But look at Jane. She's confident, keeps her cool, and knows that she'll ace this one. Jane uses all the knowledge that she has learned throughout her sessions with her tutor Sarah, and she works through the test without a worry. Soon enough, an hour and 15 minutes go by and the test is over. Everyone sighs a breath of relief. Jonas, who did not put too much effort into his studying, did not get a good grade. His low MAO involvement in studying for the test, as well as his purchase, made him suffer once he actually got around to taking it. Since he was punished, he definitely knows not to use Chegg again. However, Jane searched for a long time and was highly motivated in finding a good tutor. Once she was finally happy with her decision and knew she was paying for a good tutor, the results definitely paid off. Jane reinforced her knowledge about marketing concepts such as heuristics, habit shaping, and more, and I hope you guys did too. Thanks for watching.